Call of Duty. Taking a look at, on the left we have Call of Duty World at War, and on the right we have Call of Duty Vanguard, doing a comparison between the maps that have been remade within this particular new entry at the point of launch. So we're starting off with a look at Castle, which has been beautifully brought back with lots more color and design and depth to the textures and the details. Now, I did try to synchronize these to the best of my abilities, but keep in mind Vanguard is a much faster version of Call of Duty compared to World at War from many years ago. But the structuring of the map is basically the same with Castle, just slight adjustments here or there, but the visuals basically are matching in regards to being the same core structuring. You can just see a huge gap in the technology though in regards to like the amount of detail, the quality of the environment. It really is quite an upgrade. Now, these comparison videos are a lot of work to put together, so liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well. And yeah, this is just like a really neat look at this, and it's just like a quick tour kind of trying to show you the exact same areas across both of the maps and the gap in years. This has also captured both of these on the Xbox Series X, so that's kind of what you can expect, with the 4K 60 mode being the focus on Vanguard, and the default 720 60 for World at War, which is actually does hold up pretty well today. I do notice that it tends to be a little less detailed for a lot of this stuff compared to Vanguard, just in regards to the amount of like flora or the amount of like objects that are actually in the areas. But again, that core structuring setup is basically untouched between the two of them. Oh, and the addition of destructible aspects, boards you can hit in Vanguard, panels you can kind of smash, doors you can actually slide open, which is a little bit funny when you're trying to basically get this stuff coordinated. I got a good kick out of that when I was trying to do so. So this next one is subpens. So this one is a lot more of a reimagining than it is a remake. So comparing the two perfectly one-on-one was impossible because, they're not at all the same level. But at the same time, you can definitely tell that they're both very much the same map, which might sound weird. But seriously, you can see the structuring of it, the general concept is the same. It's just the Vanguard one is much more expansive. It's got a lot more rooms to it, a lot more space, but it still has the core concept of, hey, we've got this sub in the middle, you can run across it, you can run around it, there's like some structuring and buildings you could go around. So I hope you kind of enjoy this one. It's just kind of getting an idea of, hey, you could see the inspiration they took and where they ended up with it, just being something more modern in regards to the scale for the new style of Call of Duty that's present, and just the scope of it has been improved greatly. It was really actually kind of cool to see this because I was like, subpens. Of all the maps they could bring back, why would they go for subpens? It's very, very interesting, because that was a DLC map from World at War. All the stuff being from World at War, these remakes, which I think is even more interesting that they didn't remake stuff from other games and whatnot. They specifically chose World at War, and I think that's kind of cool for fans of, that title, because, it's quite old at this point. Most of the people playing Call of Duty, I would imagine, the younger ones and whatnot, don't even know what World at War is. So these maps are just entirely fresh, whereas, if you're veterans coming from that original release, I remember when that came out, and those maps, they were pretty cool. And now you come years later and you're like, wow, they actually brought that back. And again, you can just see like the difference in like the texturing, the details, the quality of the worlds. It's kind of amazing the differences that we're seeing present between these ones. It's really quite cool. And again, they did a pretty good job of taking the concept of subpens and I think upgrading it for what we have today. Now, the third and final option that we have is the return of Dome. So this one, again, very odd. So this was their answer, or Treyarch's answer, to basically Shipment when that came out. Shipment was a very small map. Dome was very similar in being a very small map with fast-paced action. So I was, again, genuinely shocked that they brought Dome back, because I was like, really? Wow, okay. It's cool. I don't mind it, but it's like, wow, of all the maps, that's very intriguing. So small, fast-paced, brutal action on this one. What the big difference you'll see here, because the map basically the exact same, the same structuring, the same setup, but there is one area at the top of the map where basically they've added a new spot that you can walk along that you couldn't in World at War. So now both sides in the upper areas can kind of get a spot for them to go to on the interior of the dome. We don't kind of walk up there with the Vanguard side because, you know, obviously you can't do a comparison between the two because it's inaccessible if you're playing the World at War version. I just think it, you know, kind of opens up things just a little bit more for players to kind of go into a new spot, so that's kind of cool. Are the destructible elements as well, light bits of wood. The door is in the middle of the map, so that's kind of neat as well. And then other than that, it's basically the same. You know, again, the style and everything like that is very much the same sort of game. They've just kind of, you know, added another layering of realism, and I think that's the biggest thing for this comparison, is that you can see, you know, the amount of detail and the improvement we've had technology-wise in regards to 2008 and 2021. It is quite a gap, but yet at our core, we still enjoy the maps that came before, which is kind of cool. So we're just going to kind of finish this one off, as you can see, looking out to the backdrop, so you can see the amazing difference in quality of what's going on back there. I still think our backdrops need work in modern Call of Duty games, but you know what? They're still pretty good, you know, they still look nice, because you're not really looking out there, you're shooting people, right? You don't even care what's going on there. So anyways, here's just some gameplay. I've got some gameplay of Castle for a bit, and then some gameplay of Dome, just so you can kind of take a look and be like, oh cool, you know, that's interesting, seeing the difference of it with some action going on and stuff with the bots, you know, shooting around and whatnot. That's just so you can see a full screen look at it. If you haven't seen the maps yet, you might find that to be interesting, just to get a full look of it. At Subpens, I didn't really think we needed to show a full scale version of that one. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the comparison, and again, liking's great, subscribing's great as well, and I thought this was just a fun thing to do, a little bit of nostalgia and just looking back at the Call of Duties that came before.
Glide bomb ready for target.